Not too long ago, Sydney McLaughlin's greatest nightmare was stepping into the 400-meter hurdles and facing the likes of Dalilah Muhammad, an eccentric runner with a long list of accomplishments who was also a very fierce rival. The story is no longer the same today because McLaughlin's status has changed. She has elevated herself to a whole new level over the last few years. She has frequently broken to bits unbreakable world records. She also succeeded in making her rivals, none of whom are weak, disappear into the background as she pushes the boundaries of all that is thought to be feasible in her line of work, which is what she did at the World Championships on Friday night. Sydney McLaughlin crossed the finish line in the women's 400-meter hurdles with an insane record time. Want to hear more about this? Let's see how Sydney McLaughlin has dominated everyone. If McLaughlin's destiny were read at birth, even by an amateur fortune teller, they would see that she was meant to be an athlete. Her mom was a runner. Her brother won silver in the 400-meter hurdles at the 2016 IAAF World U20 Championships. Willie, her dad, competed in 400-meter semifinals at the 1984 Summer Olympics. Sydney, however, has surpassed them all. She holds the 400-meter hurdle world record and is an Olympic gold medalist. Her history-making potential has long been written. Not a single person left the stadium after Sydney's victory on Friday. Every single fan stayed at Hayward Field to clap, applaud, celebrate, and take in the previously unheard of spectacle. It was the first time ever that a woman finished the 400-meter hurdles in 51 seconds. Yes, you heard that right. 51 short seconds. Barely a minute. Prior to this, only one woman had achieved sub-52, but now McLaughlin has become the first to run in under 51 and simultaneously excels at the track. In addition to being astounding, Sydney's actions on Friday night in Oregon were commendable. By the second hurdle on the bend after starting in lane 5, she had caught up to her opponent, and by the fourth hurdle, the race was effectively over. Quick! Her lead was so large when she completed the last turn and entered the final 100 meters, it appeared as though she was running by herself. Honestly, if you missed the match, we advise you go and watch it again. But warning, you might get goosebumps while you're at it because such unbridled skill is quite rare these days. As she inched closer to the finish line, the crowd yelled in amazement, and when she eventually crossed it, the TV crew in the stadium erupted. "Please watch the clock, the world record is 51:41, Lee Diffie," the NBC broadcaster screamed. The 22-year-old American easily smashed her old record and ushered in a new one, 50.6. Can you imagine? If you don't understand the excitement surrounding Sydney's victory, or how magnanimous it is, we'll break it down for you. In the 400-meter hurdles, Sydney set a record by running 51.90 at the Olympic trials 1 year earlier. She repeated the same great feat a month later at the Tokyo Games, setting a new world record of 51.46. You think that she'd stop there, but oh boy, she didn't. She set a new record at the US Championships last month with a time of 51.41. Last Friday night, after running 50.68, she once again broke her personal record and made history as the first woman to finish in under 51 seconds. So basically, Sydney has successfully accomplished 2 pieces of history in 4 world records in just 1 single year. Now tell me, who can beat that? Her new record time would place her 6th in the open 400 meter at the World Championships, adding to the accomplishment of her new world record. Shawnee Miller-Wevo, the world champion from the Bahamas, won the race in 49.11, which is only 1.5 seconds behind. Quite good, but not good enough for first place. What's most astonishing is the fact that Sydney is only 22 years old. At the young age of 16, she became the youngest member of the Olympic team in 44 years in Rio 2016. She was also voted the top high school athlete of the year by Gatorade, not once, but 2 good times. She then relocated from New Jersey to Kentucky, where she competed for 1 season and turned professional in 2018. Before she was legally allowed to drink, Sydney was already destined to dominate. If you still can't see what all the fuss is about, just try this. Run the length of 5 city blocks in a minute at peak pace. Did you manage to do that? Now, add a few hurdles to your path. Were you able to do either? Do you see it now? Switching coaches is one of the wisest decisions that Sydney has ever made, because her career has been furiously climbing up the ladder, especially since she met with her coach, Coach Kersey. Given her talent, she would have probably succeeded regardless of the coach she chose. However, Kersey has helped her transition from a promising teenage hurdler to a genuinely dominant force in the sport since she joined his team in 2020. Bobby is not an amateur. He has over 40 years of experience, definitely a veteran. Sydney once commended him, saying he is a mixture of incredible talent and an intimate knowledge of the game that only a sparse few can match. He studied her, found out her strengths and weaknesses, and helped her through them. That's what made Kersey's coaching admirable. One peculiar trait that Sydney has is her all-around ability. In addition to being a standout in hurdling competition, she also competes fiercely in flat sprints. At the age of 18, she scored personal best in the 400-meter run at 50.07 seconds, the 200-meter run at 22.39 seconds, and the 100-meter run at 11.08 seconds, all in 2018. She is one of the top relay racers in the entire globe. She ran a 47.91 split in the World Championships earlier this year, helping the USA win the 4x400 meter relay. But the engine of this athletic motor is her coach. Her strength, she says, is her natural stride pattern, and her weakness, on the other hand, is her hurdling. Kersey, however, helped her work on her weakness because it had been quite sloppy for a long time and needed improvement. Now, because of this, she has achieved so much. In fact, Sydney would be an A-list star if fame was determined by accomplishment alone. She has taken the world by storm. Even veteran track analysts Sonia Richards-Ross and Atto Baldwin were taken aback by her new world record. This is absolutely the performance of a lifetime. Have you seen anything better? Richards-Ross said. Baldwin, in his astonishment, said, I have never witnessed anything like this before. I think it's the best performance I have ever witnessed in all my years of watching the sport. He was shocked at how Sydney, who just arguably had the best performance so far in the sport in June, has quickly climbed up to set a new one. Baldwin was totally spot on. See why we said you need to go back and watch this race if you missed it? Sydney outperformed both the men's sweep by Team USA in the 100 and 200 meters, which hasn't happened since 1904, and the women's dominance of the 100 and 200 meters by Team Jamaica, no slight intended to any of these rivals. If she trims another 0.7 seconds off her already world record-breaking pace, she might challenge top 400-meter runners like Olympic champion Shawnee Miller-Weibo. Think about it. Her coach even claims that she is focusing on that challenge as her next goal. Given what Sydney accomplished that Friday night, we predict that she will triumph in that race as well. Her victory might have secured her a position as the most dominant athlete in history. Yes, you heard right. Not a professional basketball or football player. This time, the most dominant athlete in history has officially been surpassed by a track and field sensation. Because why not? She has also bagged quite a couple of awards. Just like how the proof of warfare is injury, the proof of talent in the world of sports is medals. And Sydney has enough proof in that regard. After setting numerous world records this year, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone and Mondo Duplantis were awarded World Athletics Athletes of the Year. Sydney, who twice this year decreased her 400-meter hurdles world record, took home the prize. She is now the first American since 2019 when Dalilah Muhammad, who is a fellow 400-meter hurdler, to be crowned Athlete of the Year. Her runs seem ridiculously effortless. Her rivals see nothing but her back at all times, and she has records to show for it. Has she officially taken over the top spot? Will she continue to dominate? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below.